Hey, what's up, guys? This is Sade from Third Generation Conjure, and I'm coming back with another video. So if you are new here, welcome to our channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Also, if you don't know who I am, my name is Sade. I am part owner of Third Generation Conjure, and we are a spiritual company. We specialize in spiritual services and supplies such as candles, oils, baths. This is a company that I run with my mother, who a lot of people know of as Mama Conjure. But today we are going to go over what we call the process, okay? All right, so before we go any further, once again, just make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you need any kind of spiritual services or supplies, you can find us on our website, which is www.thirdgenerationconjure.com. If you are more familiar with the Etsy platform, we do sell our products. We do not sell spiritual services on Etsy, but for the products, you can find us there at www.thirdgenerationconjure.store. Also, make sure to like us on Facebook at Third Generation Conjure and follow us on Instagram, which is Third Generation Conjure as well. And I will also put all of those links in the description bar below. And on our Instagram and our Facebook, we do post a lot of educational information as well as on our channel. So if that's something that you're interested in and you're new to the practice of hoodoo and conjure work, then that'll be a good resource for you. All right, so for today we want to talk about the process. So what is the process? The process is something that we have developed for our customers, and this includes a series of steps to take to make sure that you see longevity in your workings, and it's also used to remove any kind of negative energies and attachments that may affect the results that you get. So is this necessary? So I tell people with this practice, it is a spiritual practice, and it's more so a lifestyle. Those who are in the practice, these are things that have been passed down through generations. That's typically how information is given and is received. So, with the evolution of the internet, information is a little bit more readily available, so it has changed drastically as far as the information. Now, I won't say it's necessary because it's not like a set of rules, but I will say that people who do follow these steps and follow these processes that we give, they do see longevity in their workings, okay? All right, so what is the first step of this process? So the first step is to build a relationship with your ancestors. Okay, so the practice of hoodoo and conjure work is conjuring spirits. That's what makes the practice work, okay? So the spirits that we work with, I'm telling you how I learned, because, things differ from region to region, but the ancestors are the spirits that we work with in this practice, okay? The spirits of the ancestors and the spirits of the herbs. So each herb and root that you come across has a different spirit, and it's for a different condition. And we'll get into the conditions later on in the video, but each herb and root has a spirit, okay, that's associated to it for different things. Plants are living things, so they carry a certain spirit with them as well. So the first step that you want to do is you want to build a relationship with your ancestors. So how do you do this? Okay, I have a lot of people that say they can't set up an altar, but you can still build a relationship with your ancestors. And it's probably best to start out slow, even if that is just talking to them like I'm talking to you. Okay, tell them about your day, asking them to guide and assist you. If you got something going on where you need a question answered, ask them to send you a sign, and typically just pay attention. You'll have that answer come to you, and that's how you will know that you're communicating with them. Okay, now if you do have the space available, I would make sure to set up an ancestor altar. All right, so how do you set up an ancestor altar, and why is it important to set up an ancestor altar? So an ancestor altar is a space, a sacred space that is dedicated strictly to your ancestors for their veneration, okay? So when you get into this practice, it's not all about building a relationship with your ancestors so you can ask them for something. That needs to be something that's really in your heart and spirit, and something that you want to do to connect further into your lineage, okay? So when you set up a typical ancestor altar, you want to have that in a space where, there's light coming in. If possible. You know, I see some people say don't set it up in a closet, but if that's the only means that you have, you know, do what you have to do. You know, Spirit kind of understands. Okay, so with the ancestor altar, you want to get you a sturdy table. You want to make sure that you have a tablecloth, preferably something like white. We want to keep bright colors on the ancestor altar, because this is all about bringing life to your ancestors. And on that altar, you'll make sure to keep you some fresh water in a glass. So make sure that you're changing that out on a consistent basis. You're not letting it get murky or dirty or anything like that. You also want some live flowers, so nothing fake on the ancestor altar. I typically get like a bouquet of flowers and put it in a vase every week or whenever the flowers begin to wilter or die. And you'll notice too, you know, with your ancestor altar, a lot of times your plants will live a lot longer. Okay. Also, you know, you can have some incense on the altar. We're going to incorporate all elements. And you give, if you have any photos of your ancestors, you can put those on your altar. I know a lot of people, a lot of us don't know all of our ancestors. So the ones that you do know, you can put those photos on your altar. And also, just don't limit it to the ancestors that you do know. Okay. And that's what I see a lot of people do. You know, if you are nervous about conjuring up some ancestors you might think may have been malicious or something like that, you know, if you want to specify my benevolent ancestors or my ancestors known and unknown who wish to guide and assist me. Okay. Also, you want to put a candle on your altar, and then you give offerings on the altar as well. So offerings of food, just make sure you don't leave that food up there long enough for it to start rotting. You know, even if you want to put it up there for a couple hours, like typically during the summertime, we have a prevalence of like gnats and flies and stuff because it's really hot down here in the south. So if I put food on my altar, I might leave it up there a couple of hours and then I'll discard it. Also, if you want to give offerings of like libations, which is alcohol, wine, you know, spirits, things of that nature. Also, tobacco is a good offering. So if you want to keep like a cigar or something like that on your altar, and any other things that you want to put up there as an offering. Okay, it's really, you know, up to you and up to your spirit, but those are some typical offerings that you can put on your altar. All right, so what is the second step once we establish that relationship with the ancestor? So I always tell people, and this is even if you're not going through the full process, when you begin work, you always need to spiritually cleanse. Okay, and when you're coming in and you're new to the practice, it's important to go through cleansing and uncrossing. Okay, so spiritual cleansing is done by taking a spiritual bath, and usually take this bath in consecutively in the amount of 3, 7, 9, or 13 days. If you're doing a 13 herb bath, that's for some heavy duty uncrossing. And I tell people, now we have an uncrossing bath that you can do the same with, but I give people the 13 herbs coming in because the 13 herbs has properties for uncrossing, for cleansing, and for also protection. Okay, so, and I want to make a point, because I have a lot of people when they go through with the 13 herb bath, sometimes it starts out a little rough. This is like a purging process. Okay, I've seen people say that when they first started out, they had nightmares or they felt sick. This is like a purging process, but as you continue to keep going, it's going to get a little bit easier too. And, you know, typically what I see people say is once they get to that 13 days, they feel like a new person. Okay, so typically what you will do is you will take that spiritual bath for 13 days straight. And I give people Psalms 91, which is a good one to pray and incorporate for cleansing, uncrossing, and protection. Okay, and also during this time, you know, some people just take the bath, but you also want to make sure that you cleanse your space. So whether that is taking ammonia and cleansing your home, decluttering your home, getting some of that old junk out of there, getting broken things out of your home, you can do this during this process too. And also like laying down protection, and we'll get into that as well. But also I want to tell people as well, when you're going through a cleansing process and when you're getting more into spiritual aspects, you also need to work on changing your mindset, okay? Because if you come into any kind of work with a lack mindset or desperation, that's the kind of results that you're going to get. So your mindset is going to be very important for you to try to regulate those thoughts and so forth. So I would make sure to incorporate some kind of meditation, even if you have to do affirmations, if you're more comfortable with that starting out. Try to incorporate that, and that's to kind of help you to control your mind. Okay, when a negative thought pops in, you can be like, okay, I'm thinking negatively, let me flip this and change this energy. Okay, because your mindset plays a major part in things manifesting for you as well. And you have to know that things are going to work out and things are going to work, because a lot of times what happens is if you have doubt and negative energy on your work, you won't see things manifest. Now, I've seen people come in and they're like, you know, I don't know about this, I don't know if it's going to work. And sometimes spirit will just let it work for them, even if they're in a negative mindset, just to show them that, hey, you have the ability to change things in your life. Okay, so while you're doing that cleanse, I would also incorporate like some meditation affirmations. For 528 hertz is a good one to meditate to, and you can usually find those frequencies like on Apple Music. You can find some YouTube videos and so forth. Okay, so we have a lot of spiritual baths. So 13 herbs is not the only spiritual bath. Okay, you also have spiritual healing, you have uncrossing, you have fiery wall. It's a lot of different money drawing. It's a lot of different spiritual baths. So different spiritual baths are used for different purposes, and usually you will use that bath when you're getting into that kind of work. Okay, so these are known as conditioned baths. You'll also hear like the oils referred to as conditioned oils, and these are for certain conditions. Okay, so uncrossing is for the condition of uncrossing. That's the purpose of it. Fiery wall is for fiery wall of protection. That's for protection. You know, you get into money, that's for the condition of money and increasing your money. Okay, and that applies to everything: the oils, the candles, the powders, the baths, the floor washes. All of those are different conditions. Okay. Okay, so when you're doing, I want to talk about this removing and applying. Okay, anytime that you're doing a spiritual bath, you are stripping something from you, especially if you're doing like uncrossing or 13 herbs. So you want to always replace that. It's kind of like we had a podcast, and my mom kind of made a good analogy. So when you get into a bath, okay, you're stripping away all of that dirt and grime that you've came in contact with by interacting with the world. And that's no different as far as spiritual. Okay, you interact with different people, you can pick up on their energies. You know, you can pick up on attachments while you're out in the world. So when you come home, you take a bath. Okay, you use soap, and then when you get out the shower, typically, what do? You want to moisturize your skin, so you want to replace and replenish what you just stripped off. And that's the same way with spiritual baths. So normally when you're doing something like uncrossing, you want to apply protection. Okay, because you can uncross all day. Now, the 13 herbs does have protection properties, but if you're strictly doing something like uncrossing or spiritual healing or something of that nature, what you want to do is you want to protect. And protection, following up with the conditioned oil, such as like protection, is kind of like one of my favorites, because you can get all of the negative energy off you that you want, but you can go right back out and pick up that same negative energy. So the purpose of protection is to not allow anything else to penetrate. So that's where your protection work comes in. You know, I have a lot of people that say they think they got somebody working on them or they got a curse on them. But guess what? We can get it off, but it can be put back on you if you're not properly protected. Okay. And one way that you can do this is with fiery wall of protection. And I'm going to go over the difference between fiery wall and protection. Okay. So when you do the conditioned baths, an easy way for you to do that is to put a little in your lotion and anoint your body with it. Fiery wall is very thick. It has a castor oil base. Castor is used for protection. So it's going to be thick. So if you want to put a couple drops in your lotion and anoint to make it a little bit easier, that's a good kind of tip as well. All right, so this is spiritual healing and protection. This is step 3. So step 1 was establishing a relationship with your ancestors. Step 2 was uncrossing. Step 3 is spiritual healing and protection. And sometimes you can do all 3 of these steps in the same jolt, like I stated, taking the 13 herbs and then anointing with your fiery wall of protection oil, or even if you want to go through the spiritual healing process after you get through that uncrossing. All right, so spiritual healing is like shadow work. These are workings like cord cutting. This is also when you look at shadow work, shadow is kind of acknowledging your inner shadows. Okay, a good exercise to do that I give a lot of people to do is, like, especially if you got some heavy traumas and things of that nature, you can, write them down. Okay, you can write a list to release them. Go through things that you feel guilty about, things that have hurt you that other people have done, and that is a way to try to release those feelings, okay, so they no longer haunt you. All right, so then we have protection, and we have fiery wall of protection. Now, I have a lot of people who are scared of fiery wall, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, fiery wall is going to get rid of whatever does not serve you. Okay, whatever is not beneficial for you. Okay, protection will protect you, but it may not get rid of as much as fiery wall would. Okay, fiery wall might even get rid of some things that you think you want. Okay, so if you're in a relationship and that relationship is not beneficial, that partner is toxic, when you start fiery wall work, something may transpire to get rid of that person. Some information may come out that makes you get rid of them. Okay, you may have a friend who's not really your friend, and you might find out that they're talking about you. Okay, they may think they hang up the phone and they're on the phone just dragging you through the mud. Okay, that is how fiery wall works. Also, like, I've seen people do fiery wall and they lost a job or something like that. That's not always the case, but whatever is not beneficial for you, fiery wall is going to get rid of it. Okay. All right, so then after you do your uncrossing, your spiritual healing and protection, establishing a relationship with your ancestors, working on that mindset, then what you want to do, you want to move into some blockbuster and some road opening. So what is blockbuster and road opening? Road opening is to bring opportunities into your life. So we've gotten that negative energy off of us. We've protected ourselves. So no kind of BS opportunities are going to come, what I mean by that is we think it's a good opportunity, but it's really not at the end of the day. Okay, so that's the importance of taking these steps. So when you get into road opening, this is to open up some roads, to open up some doors for some new opportunities to flow in, whether that is career opportunities, money opportunities, relationships, things of that nature. Then we have blockbuster, and I like to run these two consecutively, okay, because blockbuster is going to get rid of any more additional blockages that you have and any blockages that come as a result of those roads being open. Okay, and I made this scenario in a previous video that I've done on blockbuster and road opening, so I'll use it on this one. So let's just say that you're looking for a job. Okay, so you start road opening work. All right, so let's just say that you get an interview, but you don't have a way to get to that interview because you don't have a car or your car is down. Okay, now typically you may ask your brother to let him borrow his car, and he'll tell you no, because he's just a selfish type person that doesn't allow anybody to borrow his car. Okay, so you've gotten an opportunity, but you still have a blockage because transportation is your blockage. You need to get to this interview. Okay, so when you run blockbuster, then what'll probably happen with blockbuster is you'll call him and say, hey, can I borrow your car to go to this interview? And he'll say, yeah, sure, take my car. Or something will pop up where some kind of transportation comes available because you got an opportunity, but you still got a blockage because transportation is your blockage. Blockbuster is going to work on that. Okay, so that's just kind of an example of how blockbuster works. And next, you want to make sure you follow all of these steps, guys, before you move into your other workings, such as money drawing, your all-purpose workings like crown of success, love drawing, things of that nature. You want to make sure all of those blocks are removed and you have the doors open for some opportunities to roll in. Okay, and then sometimes I see people, they can just go through these steps and things will just start happening for them, and then they don't have to go any further. Okay, they may go back and layer their work and all of that kind of stuff, but and we'll talk about layers as well, because I do want to make a point that this practice is a lifestyle, and one work is not going to fix everything. Okay, all right, so let's talk about layering your work and also some all-purpose working. So it is imperative to layer your work. And when I say layers, I mean these are different workings that you do. So for example, I'll use protection because you can never have enough protection. So let's just say you take a fiery wall bath. That's one layer of protection. You anoint with your fiery wall oil. That's another layer. You take fiery wall and you salt, or you take fiery wall powder and you sprinkle that around your house. That's another layer. You put protection mist with protection mist in your car. That's another layer of protection. You go burn a fiery wall candle and do your own ritual. That's another layer of protection. So that's the same thing like if you were doing money work, for instance, okay? So you may participate in a money drawing group ritual, okay? That's one layer. You might go burn a money drawing candle. That's another layer. You may take your money oil and put it on your hands, or rub it in your wallet, or put some prosperity salt in your wallet. That's another layer. And that's what I mean by layers of protection, because your work will last, but it's not going to last forever. So it's not like you're going to do money work that's going to last for 10 years. You're going to have to consistently do the work. All right, so I have this question come up a lot about how to use different products. So on our site, I know it might be a bit overwhelming, especially if you're not familiar and you're new coming in. So we have candles, we have oils, we have baths, we have mist, we have certain waters, we have powders, okay? So for the candle, all right, the candle is already dressed. It's already, made with whatever oil that you're getting. So if you're getting a rolled opener oil, it is a dressed candle. You don't have to put anything else in it. It's a dressed candle. It's already ready to go, okay? So what you will do with the candle, like I stated, I give people information so they can come up with their own rituals, because there's, you may come to me and want some rolled opener work and go to another practitioner that does rolled opener work too, and you may get results from both of us, but we may do two different things, okay? So it's all about coming up with your own things and creating your own rituals, and being led how spirit leads you to do. Like I had one girl, we have hot foot powder, okay? This is just an example. Now hot foot, I would never ever put hot foot on me, on my property, on my car, on anything. Hot foot is something that you don't want to get on you. I even use gloves when I use hot foot, because I don't want any on me or in my space, because sometimes you can accidentally hot foot yourself. Hot foot is used to get rid of things, get rid of people, and sometimes it can be like a crossing word, because a lot of times some bad things can happen as a result of hot foot, okay? So, when I say bad things, I mean like you might hot for somebody just to get them to leave you alone. They may go to jail or something. Maybe a little bit more powerful, okay? So, this one particular girl, she put some hot foot in her car for, I guess, somebody who was, riding in her car. I don't know the basis of the situation, but she put hot foot in her car. And it worked for her. She got rid of the person she was trying to get rid of. And maybe she put hot foot in there and they were getting in the car and they were going to come in contact with it, because you put that down so it can be in their track. That's called foot track magic. But we're not going to get into that today. But she put it in her car. And that's when I read it, I was like, oh my God, like that's something I would never do. But it worked for her. And that was spirit told her to do. So that's what she did. Okay. So, that's just kind of a side note. So I can tell you sample ways to use your things, but it's all about what your spirit tells you to do, okay? So with the candle, we tell people when you get your candle in, cleanse it. You can do that with a smudge stick. You can do it with Florida water, things of that nature. Just because it goes through a process, even getting to you with the post office, you don't know what energy they have, blah, 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 okay? So cleansing first. If you want to write a petition, you can write a petition for it. If you're more comfortable with that, you can write a petition. And when you write a petition, you write it as if it has already happened. Okay, so, all doors are open for me. I am bringing in new opportunities for work, things of that nature. That's like a blockbuster. Whatever the situation is, whatever condition you're working on, you can write a petition. You can state your petition. whichever one you want to do. So if you want to write a petition and put it under your candle and let it burn, then do that. If you feel more comfortable just speaking your intentions, you can do that as well, okay? And burn that candle, all right? For the oils, there are several ways you can use your oils. You can put them in your baths for a spiritual bath. You can use them to anoint candles. You know, if you have your own candles, you can use those to anoint candles. You can, like I stated, put it in your lotion and anoint with it. Now, a lot of times I will tell people, sometimes you can't just wear the oil, all right? Sometimes you have to physically do some work with it, such as doing candle work or something like that. But even if you're wearing the oils, make sure to speak your intentions when you do so. Also with the baths, we send a list on our brochure of how to use your bath. We send you these muslin bags to put your bath in, so you don't have to have those herbs directly in your bath, okay? So, you can do the same thing. Even with all of these, you can pray a psalm. You can speak your intentions. Typically, if you're going to do a spiritual bath, you're going to speak those intentions and say your own personal prayer without writing some kind of petition. With the mist, we don't have this on the brochure, but the mist can be used to spray areas. So if you want to spray your altar, you can do that. If you have business cards and you want to spray it with something like steady work, you can do that. You can spray it in your car if you got like protection mist. You can spray it in your wallet. You can spray it on a candle. You can do a lot of things with the oils, okay? So then next we have the waters. And right here I have a bottle of peace water. So the waters that we have on our site is peace water and indigo water. So on this peace bottle that you see right here, at the bottom is indigo water. All right, so with the indigo water, you can use, and the indigo water is just the blue, okay? It's not this peace bottle. But with the indigo water, you can use that as like a floor wash or to wash down your property. Is used to remove any kind of negative energy, any kind of negative spirits, things like that. It's another kind of layer of protection. With the peace bottle, that's not typically used to be opened, because what you'll typically see is people that have peace bottles, they'll leave those like at their door, and that is to keep out evil spirits, negative entities, things of that nature. Because when you shake that up, it's oil and it's water at the bottom. They create these little bubbles, and it's said that the spirits try to count these bubbles, and that's what it is used for, to kind of deter negative energy and negative spirits in your space. The powders. All right, so with the powders, you can use the powders to dust yourself. I typically like to use like a thin makeup brush to dust myself if I'm going to do dusting with those powders, because they can be a little messy, okay? You can also blow those powders. So if you want to blow protection in your yard, or if you want to sprinkle protection in your yard, you can do that. I've seen people blow money drawn powder in the mailbox for checks and things of that nature. So it's really about being creative with your things. You can also, like I tell people too, you can sprinkle it like in your shoe. All right, so I've had people come to me in people's shoes, or put protection in their shoes, or dust their shoes with it. So it's really I can't really tell you exactly how to use it. It's several ways that you can use it, but it's all about, like I stated, creating your own rituals. And also, when you do some type of work for yourself or others, document what kind of results you got. What did you do? Did you use a particular psalm? How did you word your petition? And that's how you can kind of know what to do the next time, okay? And you might see people refer to that as a book of shadows or something like that, whatever. But, kind of write down what it is that you're doing, so hey, I got this result and this is what I did. So, I may want to try this again in the future, okay?